The date was November 2012, Kickstarter was only 3 years old, and I fell in love with the game concept and decided to back it. That project was Limit Theory, an infinite procedural sim/RPG set in space. Limit Theory was announced the same year as Star Citizen, and 6 years before the flop that was Bethesda's Starfield. What is it about space games that make developers the bed? However, while other space sims struggled with scope creep and interference from those higher up, Limit Theory's biggest challenge would come from within. As dads, we love nothing better than to reminisce, so let me take you back to November 2012, a year when Windows 8 had launched, the Olympics took us to sunny London, where the Queen skydived out of a plane, and Curiosity landed on Mars. Also, Josh Parnell launched his now infamous Kickstarter campaign. The campaign launched to a flurry of interest and ended with a total of 5,400 backers. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's take a look at how Limit Theory got there. In the earlier days of Kickstarter, people, myself included, were definitely more open to supporting crowdfunding projects. These days it feels like everyone is a little bit more jaded, with less and less Kickstarters hitting the tech headlines. 2012 was one hell of a year for Kickstarter. In total, 17 projects raised over $1 million, including the launch of the Ouya, an Android-based microconsole, which managed to raise over $8 million. Famously, however, the Ouya, after being acquired by peripherals company Razer, discontinued the service in June 2019. And the biggest video game failure of the year was the yet-to-be-released entitled Double Fine game, which raised over $3 million. I don't actually know anything about this story, so perhaps that could be for another video. Among all these ambitious projects, Limit Theory stood out. It wasn't just a game, it was a vision. And it all started with a 5,000-word introduction into a world beautifully imagined by Josh.
Space can be cold, dark, and lifeless, but not here. Here, in the many universes of Limit Theory, space is luminous, vibrant, and rich with opportunity.
It's easy to see why 5,000 people backed this project, and back we did. The campaign offered 18 support tiers from a basic $15 package all the way up to $1,000, which got back as a personalised version of the game with exclusive backer content. I personally invested. Well, I say invested, it wasn't really an investment, was it? Anyway, I spent $30 on the Black Friday Buddy Pack, which would net to be 2 copies of the final game for me to share with a friend. And by Christmas, Josh had done it. He didn't just meet his goal, he'd smashed it. He'd raised $187,865. Then, on the 31st of January 2013, the development diaries began. Here's a snippet of the first Limit Theory development update.
Hey guys, as promised, every month I'm going to give you a little update on Limit Theory development, tell you where it stands, tell you what I've been working on, and give you a general sense of how it's going. So January was a really amazing month. It was awesome, particularly for graphics technology as well as for the core engine technology. I'm really excited about all the developments. Unfortunately, you're not really going to see any new gameplay because, as I said, I really focused on graphics and the engine this month. But
now you can tell from the clip that Josh was super excited yet confident about Limit Theory, talking passionately about what he'd been working on during the time between updates. And from there, the development diaries continued. As part of this mini documentary, I've gone back and watched all 8 hours worth of development videos, so you don't have to. And looking back, you notice a very gentle but positive approach to his update videos, with Josh showing off the progression he'd made to the game's graphics, small and large changes to gameplay, including a semi-procedural ship designer, user interface updates, and a very ambitious tech tree that Parnell had worked up overnight. Josh was a bit of a visionary, creating what looked like a game beyond its time. He had a knack for creating intricate and strangely beautiful UI elements. In Development Update 13, he showed off updates he had made to the game's heads-up display, which fizzed and popped as if being shown through an old CRT monitor. And here's a look at the active scanner that he'd made, which at its most basic is a sort of circular graph, but when pointing in the right area of space would show areas of interest. And there's hundreds of little ideas peppered through these update videos that were never really finalised. But I encourage you to go through and watch some of these old updates. I promise that you'll fall in love with at least some little bit of Limit Theory, just like the rest of us did. Between 2012 and the launch of the gameplay beta in 2015, Josh released 23 development diaries, all of which were filled with captivating commentary and beautiful visuals. Looking back at this footage, the game still looks really impressive, and these updates are like 10 years old at this point. So, where did it all go wrong? The first sign of the cracks started to appear in what would be Parnell's final video. In the next clip, he talks about pushing the launch of limit theory back into 2015.
But that is actually basically all that I wanted to talk about today in terms of good news. Unfortunately, I do have a little bit of bad news to break to you concerning the release date. I'm sure some of you have anticipated this, but the truth is LT was slated for mid-2014. We're in mid-2014 right now, and it's just not ready, and I don't see it being ready in the next few months. And, I really apologize for this, but I've decided this month that I'm going to push back the release to early 2015. Now, I could have gone late 2014, but honestly, it would kill me. It would absolutely kill me if I had to push it back one more time, so I just don't want that. So I'm going to be safe rather than sorry. I'm going to say early 2015, and we're going to say beta in late 2014.
From here, things really began to unravel. At the time, I don't think backers realised what trouble the game was in, but looking back now, it's pretty clear. Something had gone very wrong for the one-man development team. In an article from 2017, Josh opened up about his mental health struggles while working on the game. I was living alone in a cabin in the mountains of Tennessee, which was very peaceful, and that's why I wanted to develop there. But it's a good place to go crazy because you're alone all the time just coding. Listening back to Josh talk this way really breaks my heart. Knowing that his personal dream was slipping away from him, knowing the angry comments that would come, and come they did. Josh's final quote from the article reads, "I don't think the struggles that I went through are specific to me. I think a great many indie devs, especially the ones who are trying to do something big, something high stakes, and push themselves to do it, they're going to have to face that same struggle of life balance." Then after 8 months of radio silence from Parnell came the news that nobody at the time was expecting. In September 2018, at the top of the Limit Theory updates page appeared a post. In this update, the Limit Theory creator outlined that he was out of money, energy, and faith in himself to finish the project that he'd started 6 years earlier. In a candid statement, Josh said this: "I don't know how to make it right. For some years I've been running on pure loyalty to you all. It has been quite a long time, if I'm honest, since I was actually working from a place of inspiration. Yet even with the purest of intentions and the deepest desire to honour my commitment, I find myself unable to bring about miracles. No matter how hard I try, it's not enough to bring LT to fruition." And with that, the dream of seeing Limit Theory come to light came to an end. After this, Josh seemed to fade out of existence. No communication with his backers, who at this point had either become loyal to Josh or incredibly bitter, posting angry comments on the LT forum and YouTube channel. Then in July 2022, nearly a decade later, Josh Parnell made one final update, releasing the Limit Theory source code. Split across 3 Git repositories, they represented the game at different stages in its lifetime, representing all the hard work put into Limit Theory by its now humbled creator. As a Limit Theory backer, I don't feel any resentment or hard feelings towards Josh, although I potentially did at the time, and plenty of other backers feel the same way. If you read through the comments on his final post, you'll find tons of positivity for Josh. I'd say I've easily received my $30 worth of entertainment from Limit Theory. I enjoyed coming along for the ride through the development journey with Josh and had hours of fascinating content. It's also a story I think about quite often. A reminder that passion, drive and skill aren't always enough to make your dreams take flight. Josh put it best in his closing statement to his 5,000 Kickstarter backers. "I'm ready to finally close this chapter of my life. A chapter onto which I've been holding in angst for the past 3 years. It's taken me far too long already to face the finality of doing so. Releasing the code, it will finally be the end, but it's time. I imagine you've all moved on, and it's time for me to do so as well. But Limit Theory lives on. Now it's only in the form of code, but even infinite space couldn't account for human exhaustion. Thank you so much for watching. I didn't really expect what would be my first official YouTube project to be something of this magnitude, but once I'd started researching, I couldn't stop and wanted to try and tell the full story of Limit Theory as best as I could. If you've enjoyed this, well, you may as well subscribe before the YouTube algorithm buries it forever. And liking the video won't change your life, but it might make mine ever so slightly better. Right, pass me that cheese board. Good night.